Good evening and welcome to Sunset News this Tuesday evening. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather and sports. I am Diana Master. In the news tonight. In his New Year's address in Swakopmund, President Nangolo Mbumba highlighted Namibia's continued progress in infrastructure development, noting the addition of more classrooms, clinics and police stations to support healthier and safer communities. He emphasized the advancements in education, healthcare and security, with a particular focus on the ongoing Harambee Prosperity Plan. This initiative aims to expand access to quality education, promote sports and combat gender-based violence, including violence against children. Education Minister Anangi Pondoka also reported significant achievements, including the construction of 510 new classrooms and 70 sanitation facilities last year, achieved through successful cooperation with the Defence Ministry's August 26 company. However, despite these strides, high unemployment remains a significant challenge, with Namibia's unemployment rate reaching 43% in November of 2024. This high rate continues to make Namibia one of the countries with the highest unemployment levels globally. Yet President Mbumba expressed optimism about the economic future, citing emerging sectors such as oil, gas and green hydrogen as key drivers of potential growth and job creation. Mbumba also reflected on Namibia's role in co-chairing the United Nations Future Pact with Germany, which led to 193 countries signing the agreement. Looking ahead, the president concluded his address with a hopeful message, urging that 2025 be the year of Namibia, a year to become stronger and better. Now, the Electoral Commission of Namibia has responded to President Nangolo Mbumba's suggestion to extend voting across the entire country during the November 2024 general election, stating that such a move would have been both unnecessary and practically unachievable. In an affidavit last week, Mbumba had proposed extending voting to all polling stations, but after consultation with the ECN, the decision was made to limit voting to a select few stations in the Khomas, Oshikoto, Kunene and Oshana regions. ECN Chair Elsie Nyikembwa clarified that extending voting nationwide would have created an impossible logistical difficulty and would have delayed the timely distribution of ballots to all polling stations. She emphasized that in order to extend the voting, all ballot books would first need to be accounted for, which would have been impractical given the time constraints. Nyikembwa also addressed the legal challenge by the Independent Patriots for Change (IPC), which seeks to nullify the election results, claiming the irregularities. The ECN dismissed the IPC's allegations, calling them vague and embarrassing for lacking clear evidence. IPC had alleged that unverified voters were allowed to cast ballots but failed to identify specific individuals or polling stations involved. The Commission is unable to investigate such claims because they do not provide sufficient details, Nyikembwa stated. Despite the complaints, the ECN took the matter seriously and said it considered citizens' rights to vote when making its decisions. Now, heavy rains in northern Namibia have flooded townships like Ehenye and Ekuku in Oshakati, turning residential urban into pools and leaving homeowners unable to access their homes. Frustrated residents are calling on the local council to find permanent solutions to this recurring issue. Disgruntled homeowners blame the local authority for failing to construct adequate stormwater channels, while the Oshakati Council argues that improper land management by residents and contractors contributes to the problem. According to Oshakati Mayor Leonard Hango, some residents have filled their urban with sand, causing water to flow into neighboring properties with lower foundations. He also criticized some developers for not building houses with the required foundation height, allowing stormwater to seep into homes. For years, residents in these flood-prone areas have endured annual struggles, with many spending extra money to purchase sand or gravel to elevate their properties. Those who cannot afford these measures are left waiting for the rainy season to pass. The problem is not unique to Oshakati. A video of Ondangwa's Extension 24 being inundated recently circulated on social media. Ondangwa CEO Ismail Namugongo explained that the flooding resulted from heavy rainfall overwhelming the culverts, though the water was later redirected through stormwater channels. He assured that the council has a master plan for stormwater management with all construction projects aligned to it. Now, the Ministry of Education has emphasized that schools are not permitted to demand payments from parents for infrastructure construction, security services, or other expenses, stating that such contributions must be voluntary and properly accounted for. This clarification comes in response to complaints from parents who feel financially burdened by these demands, despite Namibia's promise of free education. Some parents expressed frustration, noting they are asked not only to purchase learning materials, but also to fund projects like classroom classroom construction and school security. They also raised concerns about a lack of transparency in how these contributions are managed. The ministry's executive director, Sanet Steenkamp, assured parents that schools receive state budgets to cover their operational needs. She explained that any enhancements such as modern security systems must be approved by regional directors and discussed with parents. Contributions only occur voluntarily and with proper documentation through official meetings. Steenkamp stressed that all financial transactions, including donations, must adhere to strict procedures for transparency and accountability. Donations must be declared, their value documented, and reported to Treasury. Schools are also required to undergo financial audits to ensure compliance. With the new academic year set to begin next week, the ministry reiterated its commitment to upholding free education and ensuring that parents are not unduly burdened by additional costs. Closing off our top stories, the Cheetah Conservation Fund, CCF, is hosting the prestigious ConGen Global Conference from January 5th to 15th, focusing on the latest advancements in conservation genetics. This 9-day intensive internship aims to explore how genomic technologies can be leveraged to conserve biodiversity and protect endangered species. CCF's groundbreaking research was pivotal in the classification of the Horn of Africa cheetah subspecies as vulnerable on the International Union for Conservation of Nature IUCN Red List. Laurie Marker, founder of CCF, expressed her excitement about the event, saying, "We are thrilled to host this year's ConGen Training Conference and look forward to showing this international group of scientists our state-of-the-art genetic laboratory." The conference features over 15 internationally renowned scientists and is sponsored by prestigious organizations including the American Genetic Association, GigaScience Press, and the Indiana University School of Public Health. Throughout the event, participants will engage in a combination of lectures, discussions, and practical exercises, gaining hands-on experience with the latest molecular genetic techniques used in conservation. This immersive program will allow the next generation of conservationists to interact with some of the world's top experts in the field, gaining valuable knowledge on how genetic analysis can play a crucial role in saving endangered species and preserving biodiversity. That brings us to the end of our top stories. Stick around after the break. We bring you our Community Talk segment.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
You're still with Sunset News. Getting into our Community Talk segment, City of Windhoek officials are working to provide relief for families impacted by the recent flooding in the Havana and Ochumisa areas. Severe flooding affected streets like Batiti, Messin, and Ganzi, displacing 282 households and impacting 1,189 residents. Among the affected homes, 8 were completely destroyed by the floods. In response, the city has identified Goriankab as a potential relocation site for those in need. Efforts are underway to clear the site and prepare it for temporary accommodations. Tents and other essential supplies, including food parcels, will be provided with support from the Prime Minister's office to mitigate future risks. Riverbeds in the most affected areas are being cleared to improve water flow and reduce the likelihood of further flooding. Officials stressed that the relocation and aid efforts are specifically intended for those most impacted and called for the community's cooperation during this challenging time. Authorities urge residents to act responsibly and avoid misusing the resources provided, emphasizing the importance of focusing on those in genuine need of assistance. Coming up next in economic news, South Africa's rand shows strength as it rises against a softer US dollar, fueled by speculation around potential changes to US tariff policies under President-elect Donald Trump. Meanwhile, oil prices experience a second consecutive day of declines following last week's rally. Stay with us for the latest updates.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
Let's get into our economic news. South Africa's rand gained early on Tuesday, bolstered by a softer US dollar amid speculation about potential changes to US tariff policies under President-elect Donald Trump, as reported by Reuters. By 6:36 GMT, the rand was trading at 18.5650 to the US dollar, marking a 0.1% improvement from its previous close, while the dollar edged 0.1% lower against a basket of global currencies. The market reaction followed a report from the Washington Post suggesting that Trump aides were considering tariff plans that would be less aggressive than the commitments made during his 2024 presidential campaign. Although the news initially weakened the dollar, a subsequent denial by Trump tempered the currency's losses. Analysts at ETM Analytics noted that the initial speculation helped the rand recover at the start of the first full trading week of the year, giving it a slight boost in performance. Meanwhile, South Africa's benchmark 2030 government bond also saw a marginal improvement, with its yields dropping 2.5 basis points to 9.005%. While the global market keeps a close eye on developments in the US trade policy, the rand's movements reflect cautious optimism, offering a steady start to 2025 for South African markets. Oil prices slipped on Tuesday, marking a second consecutive session of declines after last week's rally. Brent crude fell slightly by $0.08 to $76.22 per barrel, while US West Texas Intermediate WTI dropped to 15 cents to $73.42. The declines come after a 5-day surge last week, driven by hopes of fiscal stimulus in China to boost its slowing economy. Analysts attribute this week's pullback to technical corrections and global economic concerns. Priyanka Sachdeva, a senior market analyst at Philip Nova, noted that weaker economic data from the US and Germany has dampened optimism. Despite the recent dip, tightening supply from Russia and Iran amid widening Western sanctions continues to provide a price floor. This uncertainty has led to increased demand for Middle Eastern oil, prompting Saudi Arabia to raise February oil prices for Asia for the first time in 3 months. On the supply side, rising production from non-OPEC countries and weaker than expected demand from China are expected to maintain a well-supplied oil market this year. ING analysts caution that while some physical market tightening is evident, fundamentals through 2025 remain stable, limiting significant price increases. Traders are also awaiting key economic data, including the US December non-farm payrolls report, for insights into interest rate policies and their impact on oil demand. Adding to the market dynamics, the US Commodity Futures Trading Commission reported a rise in net long positions on US crude futures and options as of December 31st, signaling continued investor interest in the market. Now let's take a look at the financial indicators. The Namibian dollar trades at 22.92 against the British pound, 19.09 to the euro, 18.09 to the US dollar, and 2 Namibian dollars and 50 cents buys you 1 Chinese yuan. Looking at commodities, all commodities are up, save for gold, which took a dip of 0.37%, now trading at $2,631 and 29 cents per ounce. Coming up next on Sunset News, high hopes and pressing challenges as John Dramani Mahama begins his second term as Ghana's president, promising to tackle corruption, unemployment and economic hurdles. Plus, a devastating earthquake rocks the northern Himalayas, claiming dozens of lives and leaving communities in Tibet and neighboring countries reeling. Stay tuned for the latest updates as we bring you international news.
I'm sure you've heard the news, and Namibia is calling. And it's time to answer with a smile. From the rolling sand dunes of Sossusvlei to the wildlife wonders of Etosha National Park, Namibia is a treasure trove of natural beauty and adventure. With Enjoy, booking the most renowned lodges is as easy as a desert breeze. Picture yourself sipping coffee on a deck, watching the sunrise. Paint the sky in hues of gold and orange. Or how about a thrilling safari, capturing memories that'll last a lifetime? Our easy-to-use website hosts the most beautiful lodges Namibia has to offer. Whether you crave luxury or a cozy hideaway, we've got you covered. So pack your bags and let's turn your dream adventure into reality. Namibia awaits, and with Enjoy, your perfect stay is just a click away.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations unlocks the power of advice and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
Getting into our international news, John Dramani Mahama has been sworn in for his second term as Ghana's president following a decisive victory in the December 7 election. At 66, Mahama returns to power with a clear mandate to tackle critical challenges such as corruption, unemployment, and economic instability, reinforcing Ghana's democratic tradition with a peaceful transfer of power from Nana Akufo-Addo. Ghana's economy shows signs of recovery after the COVID-19 pandemic, a cost of living crisis, and a sovereign debt default. However, Mahama faces mounting pressure to act swiftly, particularly on youth unemployment and corruption. Experts warn of growing public frustration with democracy's limited tangible benefits. An immediate priority is addressing an energy sector crisis with $2.5 billion in debts threatening economic progress. Analysts stress the need for financing agreements with private power producers who supply 40% of the country's electricity. Lasting solutions will be vital to avoiding further disruptions. Mahama's first term starting in 2012 was marred by energy shortages and corruption allegations, but his supporters believe his political experience and strong parliamentary majority provide the tools to implement reforms. Inflation driven by rising food prices reached 23% in November, adding to economic pressures. Experts urge immediate action to stabilize costs, with agriculture and food production seen as top priorities to address hunger and improve livelihoods. Mahama has pledged to make anti-corruption efforts a key focus, aiming to restore public trust and attract investment. As he begins his term, Ghanaians are looking for decisive leadership to address these challenges and drive the nation towards stability and growth. Now, a magnitude 6.8 earthquake struck the northern foothills of the Himalayas near Tingri, Tibet on Tuesday morning, killing at least 53 people and injuring 62 in the region, according to Chinese authorities. The tremor, which hit at 9:05 a.m. local time, was centered 80 kilometers north of Mount Everest at a depth of 10 kilometers. The U.S. Geological Survey recorded the magnitude at 7.1. The quake was felt across Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, and northern India, shaking buildings and alarming residents. Chinese President Xi Jinping called for immediate search and rescue operations, the resettlement of affected residents, and efforts to ensure a safe winter. Over 1,500 firefighters and rescue workers were deployed, along with 22,000 relief items, including tents and blankets for the region's high-altitude villages. The Shigatse region in Tibet, home to 800,000 people, experienced significant impacts, with reports of strong shaking and over 1,000 houses damaged near the epicenter. Footage from Lhasa town showed crumbled shop fronts and debris strewn across roads. In Nepal, tremors were felt in 7 hill districts bordering Tibet, but no major damage or casualties have been reported. Officials are still assessing remote areas accessible only by foot. Kathmandu residents were startled by the quake, with some running outside in fear. One person in the city sustained injuries after jumping from a building. The quake also reached Bhutan's capital, Thimphu, and northern India state of Bihar. So far, no reports of significant damage have emerged from those areas. This region of the Himalayas is prone to the earthquakes due to the collision of the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates. Experts attributed the tremor to activity within Lhasa block, an area historically prone to seismic events. The quake follows a history of devastating seismic activity in the region, including Nepal's 2015 earthquake, which claimed 9,000 lives. While Tuesday's quake caused no immediate damage in Nepal, officials and residents remain on high alert as aftershocks continue to rumble across the region. Now let's take a look at the weather predictions. Katima Mulilo can expect some showers and maximum temperatures of 26 degrees Celsius and minimum temperatures of 19 degrees Celsius. In Windhoek, it is going to be hot. Maximum temperatures expected to hit 30 degrees Celsius and minimum temperatures of 20 degrees Celsius are to be expected. Over at the coast, not much difference in Swakopmund between the high and minimum temperatures. As they're expected, we expect only 2 degrees difference between the maximum and minimum temperatures. Ariamsvlei, bright and sunny skies, maximum temperatures hitting 32 degrees Celsius and dropping to as low as 15 degrees Celsius. Stick around because after the break, we bring you the news headlining the world of sport.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
Starting off our sports news, Australia's Ice Hockey Federation has cancelled a planned international qualifying tournament in Melbourne, citing safety and security concerns. The tournament, scheduled for April, was called off after consultations with local police and venue operators. While Ice Hockey Australia's IHA official statement did not mention specific reasons, local media reports suggest the decision was linked to the participation of Israel's national team. IHA emphasized its focus on the safety of athletes, volunteers, spectators, and participants, stating this decision was made with safety at the forefront. The cancellation comes amid heightened concerns following recent anti-Semitic incidents in Australia, including graffiti in Sydney and an arson attack at a Melbourne synagogue, which police suspect was linked to terrorism. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese described the cancellation as unfortunate, but noted that the government has taken steps to address anti-Semitism and protect Jewish communities. He reaffirmed the government's commitment to combating hate crimes, stating, "We understand how deeply hurtful anti-Semitism is for the Jewish community." The International Ice Hockey Federation, IIHF, has yet to comment on the cancellation. Meanwhile, Australia continues to see increased anti-Semitic and Islamophobic incidents following the October 2023 Hamas attacks on Israel and the subsequent war in Gaza. Meanwhile, Samoa rugby coach Mahonri Shwalga has resigned months after being charged with multiple sex offences, Lakapi Samoa, the country's rugby board, announced. Shwalga, a former test hooker, was suspended in September following charges that included sexual conduct with a person under the age of 16. He pleaded not guilty to the charges in Samoa's Supreme Court in November, according to the Samoa Observer. Shwalga had taken over as head coach in April and achieved a significant milestone by leading Samoa to a 33-25 victory over Italy in July, their first win against a Tier 1 nation in a decade. In a statement, Lakapi Samoa chairman Tuilaepa Sailele Malielegaoi acknowledged Shwalga's contributions to Samoan rugby, noting his dedication and leadership. His leadership has been a key part of our journey and we wish him all the best, Tuilaepa said. Samoa's rugby team, Manu Samoa, has also faced financial challenges, forcing them to withdraw from their November internationals in the Northern Hemisphere last year. And with that, we have come to the end of the broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook and all the NMH platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, oneop2.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25 every weekday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. I am Diana Master, and this has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.